Hello and welcome to Boring Dad Gaming, where today I'm going to be taking a look at an upcoming game on my channel. This is the demo for Quality Dreams Reasonably Priced. So the developers reached out and say, would I be willing to have a look at their game? And I said, yeah, sure, that's something I could do. The demo launched in late January, I think it was, and the full release is looking towards the end of the year. I think it's Q3 2025, so probably about 6 months or so off, something like that. So what is it? It's a game where I think it's like a sort of a story-rich, almost a visual novel type game set in a dystopian cyberpunk future, where we're working as an advisor at a body modification clinic, trying to see what our clients want in terms of body upgrades, cyberpunk type stuff. I haven't played it yet, but let's dive in and see for ourselves. That's just a little thank you. It's a two-person team based in Canada. They're saying they hope we enjoy the game. I hope we do too. I step out of my office to refill my coffee and stretch my legs. As my mug fills, I notice Baron walk into the lobby. Hi, Jin. Got a minute? It's never good when your boss wants a word. Yeah. Sure, Baron, what's up? I wanted to have a quick chat to see how things have been going, how you've been settling in, that kind of thing. I've learned... okay, so this is us again, isn't it? If I've learned anything in my month working here, it's that this chat will not be quick. Let's talk in your office. He starts walking off, not waiting for my reply. Let's take a sip of coffee. Let's be slightly rebellious. I take a sip of my coffee and watch him walk for a bit. Then I let out a sigh and follow him back into my office, dread crawling up my spine. When I come in, Baron has settled where my clients usually sit. He gestures for me to take my seat, and I do, watching him with trepidation. So, Jen, you've been here about a month. How do you feel things are going? Well, I'm still learning. I'm not an expert on everything yet, but I'm taking every opportunity to learn and better myself. That's what I like to hear. I'll be frank, Jin. You're not hitting your targets. And I know, you're new and this is your first job as a psychline, and it's been a slow month in terms of clients. I get that. I feel confident that you'll do better once you're in the full swing of things. But just for my own peace of mind and for your good as well, I'd like us to do a little mock client interview. Pretend I'm here to get some mods. Play along. I swallow a sigh. All right, welcome to Envisage Poetry. I try my best not to cringe when I say the name. How Baron came up with something so awful I'll never understand. Introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jin. N-E-all, and I'll be consulting on your... Oh, I see, so that in terms of pronouns, not fussed. Anything flies, that's good. I'll be consulting on your modifications today. Hello, Jin, I'm Baron, he, him. It's very nice to meet you. I'm a little surprised he didn't go for a fake name. Should we fill out form? Before we start, would you mind filling out this form? I don't think there's a need for that. Can't you just ask me about what you need to know? Need to be entered in the system. I need the information for our records. Yeah, just write it down as we speak. Alright, concede. Alright. Not so hard, right? I force down my irritation and open the form. Let's work down these, I suppose. Would you mind telling me how old you are? Try that again. Friendly? Would you mind telling me how old you are? I need it for the form. How old do you think I am? Play along. Oh, I don't know, maybe 26? You flatter me. I'm 37, but I'm glad that you see me as so youthful. So, what mods are you interested in getting? I'm not sure. Maybe something to add a glow to my tattoos. Good choice. Well, that's a good choice. It's really in right now. Are you saying it's unoriginal? I just mean it's popular. Okay. Let's pause for a second. Most clients will have an idea of what they want, and that's great, but people don't always know what's best for them. You have to learn about them and guide them to the best decision. Best for them? The best decision based on their the best decision based on their lives. Yes, but people improve their lives through modding. More often than not, getting mods is the best decision for them. However, you shouldn't push mods on clients when it's really not what they need. Getting mods reversed is very expensive, and often we can't put someone back to exactly how they were before the initial procedure. We don't want our customers to be dissatisfied or asking for refunds. We're trying to bring joy into the world. But what about a scenario where the customer really shouldn't have the mod? Well, then don't recommend it. We're not here to scam anyone or cause them harm. Mods make people happy, or they should. If the mod isn't helping, then we shouldn't be recommending it. But I really doubt that'll ever happen. Mods make things better. Maybe this hypothetical customer just hadn't found the right mod yet. In that case, your job would be to help them uncover the mod that's right for them. And on that note, let's get back to it. I may or may not want glowing tattoos. Occupation. What's your current occupation? Well, you might not believe it, but I actually own a small body mod clinic. Humor him. What a coincidence. Please tell me more. Well, I'd love to. Here he goes again. When my father passed a few years ago, he left me the body mod shop he'd started and told me to make something good of it. I'm not sure if he meant do good or be profitable, but I choose to believe he meant to do true good. To bring goodness into the world. So I took the little clinic and I diversified it. We increased variety and dropped prices. Now more people than ever can access mods. Did it cost me? Of course it did. Well, at the beginning at least. But it was all worth it to give more people access to mods. He loves to tell this story any chance he gets. That's all the form questions out of the way. Time to move on to the rest of the interview. Let's talk about his budget. What does your budget look like for this procedure? Oh, it's very tight. $3,000 at most. I note it down. Glowing tattoos usually range from $600 to $5,000 depending on the size, features, and whether there's a complete design on the skin. Will that be a problem? Maybe. Well, it could, depending on what model and features you end up choosing, but I'll be here to help you pick something within your budget. Perfect. Appeal of glowing tattoos. What makes you want glowing tattoos? What do you like about them? Well, they look nice. They're in fashion, they're cheap. What's not to like? You'll need to take the rest of the day easy once you've had the procedure. Can you make time for that? No. Questioning? What's wrong? You can't ask like that. You need to ask nicely, like, do you have any plans for after the procedure? Okay, sure, will do. Great. Do you have any plans for after the procedure? Not particularly, just gonna head home. Maybe spend the following weekend with some friends. Yeah, that wasn't so hard, was it? Yes, no it wasn't. Good. Next phase. Alright, well I think I've got what I need. Let's move on. No, that's no good. Talk to me more first. Build rapport. It's better if you talk to them for longer. I mean, I can see that. You know, it's a cosmetic procedure. It's not something they need. So, you know, building a good client relationship, I can see the point of that. Whatever. Doesn't that just mean I see fewer clients in a day? People like to feel important and looked after. You want to make them feel special, like you care about them. And when people talk a lot in conversations, they leave with a more favorable impression of you. So get them talk. That's supposed to be talking. Little typo there. That's the only first one I've seen though. So get them talking and keep them talking. Seem interested in what they have to say. Yeah, what about the impact on my salary? Will having longer client sessions impact my salary or commission? Now, why would you think that? What is there to talk about? Can't you make small talk? Ask them about their work, hobbies, whatever. How friendly do you expect me to be with clients? Enough to be personable to make them like you. And if it seems like they feel better with friendly, then you should be even more friendly. Aren't there professional Cycline client boundaries I should be minding? Oh, don't worry about that. It's not like you're a doctor or even licensed for that matter. You're a salesperson, not a therapist. Before we get back to it, I want to make sure you understand that you're a salesperson first. It's fine to form connections. I encourage it even. It usually makes the selling go better. Remember, you're not a therapist. You don't have to abide by any rules. I like talking to clients and getting to know them. It's the best part of my job. But when Baron talks about it like this, something about it feels vile. The ethical implications twist in my stomach. Work. How do you like your job? Oh, I love it. It makes me happy to know I'm doing so much good. What do you think is the best part of your work? I love how much joy my clinic can bring. Modding is incredible, and I'm excited to bring that opportunity to more people each day. A much better job. Well done with the small talk. It helps you, and it keeps me happy. I feel like I'm really getting my money's worth. Be professional. Glad to hear that I'm meeting expectations. Surpassing, even. Do you have any hobbies? Yeah, as a small business owner and entrepreneur, my work takes up most of my time. But I do quite enjoy music. Recommendations. Is there anything you'd recommend? Well, of course. I listen to many genres. Neoclassical punk, ferocious flute, pop folk metal, underground M-pop covers. But you'd probably like Birdsong and Symbols Volume 3. It's a concept album about childbirth expressed through bird songs, wind chimes, and cymbals. Sounds terrible. It's a must-listen if you're looking to expand your musical repertoire. Oh, I'll check it out, thanks. I definitely won't. Exactly. Let's move on. Interesting, thank you for sharing. Isn't it? Happy to chat more about it later if you'd like. Alright, I think I've got what I need. Let's move on. To the recommendation. Excellent. I look over my notes detailing my talk with Baron. They're a mess of advice and intentional obfuscation. So I think... You better recommend me. Alright. You'll be happy to hear that I do recommend you then. Great! My reasoning being that... Suits him. Glowing tattoos would suit you well. You really think so? Now, what if I wanted the high-end version that changes color depending on my environment? What would you say then? We're talking to our boss, we should probably go encourage spending more, right? Then I'd try to convince you to spend outside your budget if the higher-end model is what you really want. Oh, you bet it is. Great, that's exactly what I like to hear. Do we need to go over all the logistical elements? Baron waves a hand. No, that's fine. If I decide to actually get anything, I'll speak to Sol directly. Let's go over my feedback and then we can wrap up. I take a slow breath. This'll be good. Great job learning from your mistakes. I appreciated how you recovered after we spoke about you chatting with clients more. You took feedback well, so take credit for that. I know I'm not always the best at delivering my comments. And in the end, you made a good decision. Tension I hadn't realized I was holding releases from my shoulders. Alright, that's all for today. Good work. I look forward to seeing your progress. I watch Baron leave, feeling a bit shaken. Things went well overall, but I know Baron will continue to keep an eye on me. After staring at paperwork for a few hours, the clock ticks over to leaving time. I let my gaze linger over my office to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, and then leave to begin my trek home. The apartment. I climb the stairs to my apartment and shut the door with a sigh. I hear a slight rustling and look around. Nibbles is watching me from her cage. Nibbles Dandelions, is that the rabbit's full name? Seeing her always fills me with warmth. Let her out. I open the door to the fence around Nibbles' hutch. She slowly hops forward, settling down on the rug next to me. I can't tell if she's moving more slowly than usual or if I'm just projecting. I give her a small pat and sigh gently. Check her food? I check her food and notice she's eaten less than usual. I refill her water and wonder if my worry is warranted. I glance at the time. The vet should be calling soon. Watch her. I watch Nibbles roll onto her side. She's lying on her usual spot on the rug near my usual spot on the bed. She seems unusually tired today. Pet her? I rub Nibbles' forehead gently. She seems to relax a bit. Give her a treat. I grab some washed kale from the fridge and offer it to Nibbles. She perks up a bit and starts munching on a corner. I'll get her some more later. Clean up my dishes. I have some dishes from last night I haven't dealt with. I wash each by hand and drop them on my too tall stack of dry dishes. That's going to be a problem left for tomorrow. There's still some time before I need to go to bed, and I need something to do while I'm waiting for the vet to call. Yeah, we're currently living out of boxes. Let's unpack. I moved down into this apartment about 2 months ago. I couldn't afford my old one anymore. I look around the space that doesn't quite feel like home, and I can't help but notice all the ways it's worse. The room is too small for all my stuff. Much of it still sits in half-unpacked boxes. It's further from my new job, adding time to my commute and shifting my sleep schedule. I still wake bleary some days. And no amenities are included. The savings come at the expense of my comfort. Home doesn't feel like a place of rest. I Mechanically, I pull objects out from boxes and try to find room for them in the overstuffed cupboards and drawers. After about 2 boxes, my brain starts to hurt. I'll leave the rest for another day. We could play with Nibbles. I grab some of Nibbles' favourite toys to throw and place them around her. She glances towards them but seems disinterested. The worry between my ribs radiates outwards. We could read? Pick up the book that's been long abandoned on my nightstand and flip it open. I should get it back to my friends soon, they're probably missing it. I sit on my bed, lean up against the wall and let myself settle back into the story. After about 20 minutes, my phone rings. Take a breath. I take a slow, long breath, trying to center myself. Answer the phone. I hit a button on the side of my earpiece. Hello? Vet's office. Hello, this is Dr. Monk's office, calling back with the test results for your rabbit, Nibbles Dandelions. Make pleasantries. Oh yes, thank you for managing such a quick turnaround with the test results. Yes, well, we understand how important this information is to our clients. The speaker on the other side of the line clears their throat. Unfortunately, the test came back positive. Your rabbit is suffering from... The voice turns to static in my mind, and I feel my hands start to shake. I stand there, staring at the wall, keeping as still as I can. Hello? Is everything okay? Next steps. What do I do now? Well, we'll need to schedule Nibbles Dandelions for surgery. My blood runs cold. Is she going to be okay? How much is this going to cost? Details? What will happen in the surgery? We'll remove the infected organs. After, we'll put Nibbles Dandelions on antibiotics. And in a month or so, she should fully recover. No risks? Are there any risks to her in having this surgery? Well, we performed this procedure many times. There is very little risk. About as much as getting a nano-animated tattoo. Very low risk, then. What about alternatives? Are there any alternatives to surgery? Well, this is the option with the greatest chance of success. Alternatives require prolonged treatment and are not guaranteed to permanently cure Nibbles Dandelions. Okay, thank you. How soon will the surgery be? We can schedule you in for next Sunday. That's 13 days from now. Can Nibbles wait that long? Will that be enough time to get the money to cover the surgery costs? Sooner? Are there available dates any sooner? Unfortunately, this is the earliest date we can schedule you for. Okay. Thank you. I notice I'm biting my lip and stop. How much will the surgery cost? Well, the procedure will cost $17,000. That's a lot more money than I have in savings. Can I do an installment plan? Is there an option to pay by installments? No, we require full payment up front. All right. I try to keep my voice from sounding as shaky as I feel. We finalise the appointment details and I hang up the phone. I look down at where Nibbles is flopped on the floor and my heart sinks. Saving $17,000 in 12 days isn't impossible, but I don't feel good about my odds. I sit down next to Nibbles and run a hand through her fur. I can't imagine losing her. I don't remember making dinner and the food is tasteless when I eat it. I keep glancing over at Nibbles, reassuring myself she's still there. Before I head to bed, I open my banking app to pay my utilities. Okay, so what have we got? It might be best not to keep paying for so many luxuries, at least until I've saved up enough for Nibbles. So this says available in full games. This is still in development. It looks like we can kind of pick and choose what we pay for. So a little bit similar to something like Papers, Please, where you could choose not to heat your apartment or have as much food for your family. It was kind of rough. So we got 8.5 in savings. So we're about halfway towards the surgery costs. I guess we didn't earn anything today. It takes me too long to fall asleep. I turn back and forth under the sheets, unable to feel comfort or stop my spinning mind. Sleep, I guess. I wake up and realise I don't hear the sound of my alarm. I blink and notice that there's too much light in the room. I check the time, and a bucket of cold water falls over me. I needed to leave for work an hour ago. I quickly rush to get dressed and refill Nibbles' food and water, and I grab my lunch and run out the door. Halfway to the elevator, I start worrying that I have a client interview booked for this morning. I spend the rest of the trip to the clinic bouncing between dreading being late and hoping I misremembered and it's tomorrow. I step into the clinic, and a notification pops up letting me know there's a client waiting in my office. I curse, grab the client's file from behind the reception desk, and make my way to the consultation room. I'm only a few minutes late, but the splash of guilt still runs down my throat. I muster a smile, knock gently, and open the door. The customer is sitting in one of the chairs. They seem to be engrossed in a tablet, probably working. A apologise first of all. I'm sorry for the wait. Welcome to Envisage Poetry. I always cringe a bit at the clinic's name. I'm Jin. I use all pronouns. How can I help you today? They look up at me from where they're sitting. Good morning, I'm Ocean. This is the room for consultations, right? They look to be in their early 20s, but their composure makes me think they're older than they look. There's a conviction in the way they sit, and I relax a bit. Clients who know what they want are always easier to deal with. Yes, you're in the right place. Usually I have some time to prep before my meetings. I clench my hand around the data chip. Probably won't be an issue to ask for a moment to get myself oriented, but I can't get a good read on this client yet, and the wealthier ones can sometimes be unreasonable. Talk to Ocean first. I can just ask Ocean, it'll be fine. Before we start, I'm just going to run through some preliminary questions. Go for it. Let's work down. What are your pronouns? He, him, and they, them. And your age? I'm 27. What do you do for work? Oh, I had to fill that in on your intake form. Why is it relevant? Procedural. Oh, it's just part of the process I need to know in order to continue our session. Well, that's a bad reason. Let it go. I shrug. No worries then. I'll try to circle back to this later. Maybe Ocean feels the question is too personal a starting place. Well, hang on. What kind of procedure are you looking to get? I'd like to medically transition to feel more comfortable in my body. It's a pretty straightforward procedure with a few days recovery time. It should be enough for a starting point. Now to learn more about what Ocean is looking for and why. So you're looking to get gender-affirming work done? Oh, that's correct. The next question I need to ask is probably not the most respectful or kind, but it is part of standard procedure for consultations. Let's be tactful. Are there any factors motivating you to make this change? Well, I mean, aside from the obvious. Why do you need to know? To understand. I'm just trying to understand you better. Knowing what you're looking for will help me recommend options. They sigh. I socially transitioned some time ago and started taking hormones some time after that. But being honest with myself is something I've had to learn. About a year ago, I realised that I'm not happy with how things are. I'm uncomfortable when I see myself in the mirror. I don't like parts of my body. And I can understand that now, so I want to take steps to make myself happier. What changed? What made you realise you were unhappy? After I socially transitioned, things in my life got a lot better, and I realised how unhappy I was before. Well, before. As things got better, I got better at learning what in my life made me unhappy, and I started taking steps to address those things. This is just the newest in a series of realisations. It's something that took us some time and a lot of introspection to figure out. Understand. That's really understandable. Figuring out yourself and your needs can be hard, especially since we grow up in a world that thinks everyone requires the same things. Ocean sighs in agreement. Yeah, you got that right. Anyways, after all that, it was just a matter of saving up enough money to visit a clinic. I've done my research and I should have the right amount to cover everything I'm looking for. Good to hear. Well, I'm happy that you're in a comfortable place to get this done now. Oh, thank you. I've covered most of the required information, but it might be helpful to know more about Ocean before moving forward, and Baron will not be happy if he finds that I didn't keep the conversation going for longer. Let's learn more. Can I ask a bit more about you? Oh, it depends what you want to know. Hobbies. Do you have any hobbies? Oh, I'm really into tea, actually. Oh, could you tell me a bit more about tea? Oh, what do you want to know? Spill the tea. What's your favourite tea? What kinds of tea do you like? Oh, all kinds, really. I've gotten into mushroom tea recently. Have you tried it? No, I've never even heard of it, actually. Well, if you ever get the chance, you should try some. It's really quite, well, unique's a good word, I think. Show interest. Sounds like a must-try experience. What got you into tea? Oh, I'm really into plants. I actually work as a gardener. I work with a large variety of plants, including those whose leaves are used as herbs or for teas. I started growing a few at home and selling prepared teas to coffee shops. What part do you like the most? I love figuring out how to express flavours. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. I think what I like more is the process of transforming plants into tea, and then again transforming the leaves into a beverage. I relate. I understand being mesmerised by transformation, to become better or more comfortable with yourself or someone new. Ocean nods. Yeah, exactly. Ocean pauses, seeming to think for a second. How would you be interested in buying my tea sometime? I could even let you try some mushroom tea. He smiles, but it feels a bit forced. I can tell they're nervous about my answer. Ocean's tea seems to hold a lot of importance. Except, I'd love to try your tea sometime. Ocean smiles, trying to hide their relief. Well, you won't regret it. I'm sure I won't. We could talk about gardening. Could you tell me more about your work? Well, it's hard to find jobs that you like when you're born on the floors near me, but I really do love plants. What do you love about them? I always felt like they accepted me unconditionally. As long as I looked after them, they'd look after me. They never see me as anyone but myself. Understand. I get that. Having those kinds of supports can be really positively impactful. Ocean hums in agreement. Work environment. What's your work environment like? I try to deliver the question neutrally, not wanting my curiosity to overwhelm or alienate. Ocean raises an eyebrow. You mean do I work in real sunlight? Apologise? Oh, yes, sorry, Ocean laughs, cutting me off. It's fine, really. Most people ask. Not all my clients are high enough up, but a lot of them get almost direct sunlight. I've never worked for anyone with unfiltered light, though. I struggle to get the awe off my face. I know, it's pretty wild. Nothing a low-floor girl like me would ever have dreamed of. What's the sunlight like? Well, it's about as bright as it is here on the mid-levels, but it's also warm. It's like the light itself is carrying a heat with it. Took me some time to notice, but I promise it's there. And the higher up you are, the warmer it is. Marvel. Oh, that's amazing. I don't try to hide the wonder in my voice. Yeah, it really is. Clients? Who makes up your typical clientele? Usually upper floor people with big lots they want to fill with a garden to rub in their neighbours' faces. Sometimes mid-floorers who can afford to add a bit of nature to their homes. Any low-floorers? Any clients from the lower floors? It is rare. Not a lot of plants like the environment there, and not a lot of people can afford it. I've sold a few potted ones to people. No one has space for a garden. Responsibilities. What kinds of work do you do? Mostly garden design, arranging and planting, and maintenance. Sometimes customers ask for convoluted work, and while I can make the plants do what I need, I much prefer to let them grow as they like. To work with them to achieve the shapes and colours I need, you know? Like plant mods. Do you do work with any modded plants? Occasionally, but I try to avoid it when I can, especially if there's any natural alternatives available. How come? It bothers me when mods change a plant's nature, like making a plant that prefers the shade long for the sun. Feels like that's tampering with the plant's nature. Its truth, its personality, really. I think some things aren't meant to be malleable. Fine. I can see that. It makes a lot of sense. Ocean inclines their head in agreement. Plans after mods. Do you have anything planned for after the procedure? Oh, why do you ask? Practical. Well, you'll need to refrain from strenuous activity for some time afterwards. I'm just checking that it won't interfere with any of your plans. Well, I'm planning a small trip with my friends to celebrate. Should be undemanding. What are you planning for your trip? It's just a small trip to a mid-floor resort. Nothing that exciting, really. Okay, let's move on from that. Well, I hope you have a great time. Thanks. I look over my notes. It's time to make my recommendation. I need to save another $8,668 over the next 12 days to afford the surgery for nibbles. If Ocean has the procedure done here, I'll earn at least $1,600. That seems like a good amount. Based on what we've discussed, I can easily recommend that you go forward with the desired procedure. A wave of relief rolls over Ocean. Oh, that's great! We discuss what Ocean is looking to get done, and I put together a suggested plan. Once we settle on the details, I explain the remaining information. Next, our client surgeon, Dr. Sol, will give you a quick physical to double-check you're fit for having the procedure. And once you've gotten a clean bill of health, I'll schedule your operation date. At that point, I'll also take your deposit, which will be half the total cost. Sound good? Ocean smiles, attention uncurling from their shoulders. Oh, sounds great. I return his smile and we shake hands. Theirs feels firm and welcoming. We walk out of my office together. Later that day. I get home exhausted and collapse on my bed. After a bit, I roll to the side and notice Nibbles watching me. Oh, sing her a song. I pick a popular tune and change the lyrics to make the song about Nibbles on the fly. She doesn't react, but it makes me smile. Should we let her out? I roll back off my bed and open the door to her hutch. She watches for a bit before slowly making her way to her favourite spot on the rug. Play with Nibbles. I try rolling one of Nibbles' balls towards her. She glances at it, but doesn't push the ball back to me like she usually does. She's not her usual self, and it hurts to see her this way. My worries circle in my head, saving 8,668 and 8 more work days. Did I not have 12 days? Maybe it was the weekend? Kind of weird. I sigh and roll back onto my bed. Not impossible, I remind myself, there's still a chance. The day went well, and tomorrow will too. Why 8 days? Let's make dinner. I spend some time making dinner, then clean everything up. Grimly, I open my banking account to check things over. So we earn 800, so I guess that was half what we can expect from that procedure. So we're up to 9k, another 8 still to go. By the time I get to bed, I feel drained to my bones. Sleep. I wake up with my alarm and sigh contentedly. It's nice not to be in a rush. I make a low-effort breakfast and take a quick shower before getting changed, feeding Nibbles and heading to work. I have another appointment today. A larger part of me than I'd like to admit hopes it'll be someone looking for an expensive procedure. As I enter the clinic, I notice a message from Baron. The client's file is waiting for me in my office. I make myself a cup of tea and carry it carefully to my office. I sit down, take a sip, and swipe open the client's file. I'm expecting them to arrive just afternoon. Baron left a note at the bottom of the file saying to watch myself with this one, which makes me a bit nervous. He rarely butts in, saying that he prefers to leave the human aspect to the psych line, which is fair, that's what he's paying me for. Whoever is coming in must be important. I swipe open the file on my tablet. What's their name? At the top of the file I see Florence Sanderine, she, her, 34. Florence Sanderine must be an upper floorer. No wonder Baron gave me the heads up. It's unusual for us to get top floor clients. They usually go to nicer clinics. Well, an upper floor client explains why Baron also told me not to ask about her budget. Okay, we'll bear that in mind. Occupation. Under the line of work section, I find a really long explanation that can be summarised as stay-at-home spouse. There's also a brief mention of an interview she hosts. Of an interview show she hosts. It seems like a hobby project. Desired procedure. The section detailing the mods Florence Sanderine would like is much shorter than I'm used to. It seems like she's just coming in for a voice change. It's a technically difficult procedure and not that common, since it's expensive and impossible to completely reverse. The recovery time is usually less than a day. From her file, Florence Sanderine seems like a pretty typical upper floor trophy spouse. There are a few things that don't entirely line up, but they also don't seem relevant to the consultation. I close the file and clean up my office a bit. The fact I'm seeing an upper floor client has got me a bit more nervous than I'd like to admit. It's unusual for us to get upper floor clients. We can't access most of the high-end mods, even if our clients could afford them. Nor can we offer the level of service they often expect. Before I know it, there's a gentle knock on my door. At the sight of Florence Sanderine, I freeze momentarily. Hi, you can call me Florence, she, her. She smiles a little and I have to remind myself to breathe. Can't remember the last time I saw someone so beautiful. Confess you'd die for her. Let's not do that, let's act normal. I force myself to move and pull the door the rest of the way open. I wrestle what I hope is a warm smile on my face and gesture her inside. Hi Florence, I'm Jin, and any pronouns are fine for me. She steps past me and into the office, looking around slowly. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for looking after me today. She sits and her gaze turns back to me. I feel myself growing flustered. Customers aren't usually, like this. The pleasure is entirely mine. Thank you for choosing Envisage Poetry. It takes all of my effort to say the words casually and withhold my inadvertent cringe. For your consultation today. Florence glances down at her hands folded perfectly in her lap. Of course, I've heard good things about your clinic. Feels like I'm swallowing around a rock in my throat. Or maybe that I forgot how to breathe or to hold my body like a normal person. Meet expectations? Then I hope we live up to your expectations. I'm certain you shall. She smiles a little again, and I think my heart forgets how to beat for a few seconds. I need to pull myself together if I'm going to get through this. I sit down and try and refocus. Ask questions. I should get to know her better so I can understand what she's looking for. Compliment her name. Florence Sanderine is a very beautiful name. Does it mean anything? Florence drops her gaze, making her smile seem a bit sadder. Florence comes from the Latin word florentius, which means blossoming, flourishing, and prosperous. Sandrine is a play on Sandrine, which itself is a version of Alexandra from the Greek Alexandros. It means to defend man. Together, my name is meant to be a blessing, to provide me with good fortune and protect me from peril. Has it worked? And have you had good fortune and avoided peril? Florence lets out a small chuckle, and it sounds like glass chiming and flowers blooming and stars glinting. I take most would say so. Agree. I would agree from looking at you. Oh no, what am I saying? I hope I'm not crossing a line. Florence laughs gently, replacing my worry with relief. Let's talk about her interview show. I saw in your file that you host an interview show. What's that like? Florence's eyes light up and she smiles a bit. How nice of you to ask. It's not a terribly exciting hobby, but it does bring me a lot of joy. I very much enjoy meeting guests and getting to know them. I suppose it's a bit similar to your work in some ways. Agree. I would agree. I don't know if you find this to be the case too, but sometimes it feels like my clients learn a bit about themselves from this process as well. Florence nods slowly. Yeah, I think so. Sometimes I think it's also about what truths are hinted to, or are simply left unsaid. Truths to the heart that feel too dangerous to speak outright. Yes. I say it quietly, watching her, but she doesn't meet my gaze, leaving her exact expression unknowable. Let's carry on with that. What's the name of your show, by the way? Florence looks down, clearly a bit flustered. Oh, it's just a small thing. I'm sure you haven't heard of it. I wait, leaving space for her to speak. It's called Song for a Lark. I freeze and blink at her, momentarily dropping my brain to the floor. Jen? Admit you've heard a lot about it. Oh, I haven't heard of it. Half my friends won't stop talking about it. Oh, I'm sorry to have caused you trouble. I wave my hands, dispelling her apology. No, the fault is mine for overreacting. I just didn't realize you were a celebrity. She laughs, blushing slightly, and I almost drop my brain again. I'm not at all, but thank you for the compliment. The show is a personal hobby in which I trifle and delight. It pleases me to hear that it amuses your friends to the point of enthusiasm. Song for a Lark is an audio show. My friends are always going on about how amazing and talented the host is. They'd die if I told them I spent time chatting with her. Talk about the procedure. Now, I understand that you want to get a voice alteration procedure. That's why I'm here. Her fingers weave and slide along each other as she speaks, and I try not to stare at them. Does she feel nervous? Reassure. This is a very simple and straightforward procedure. Florence's fingers settle and she smiles. Yeah, I'm aware. Thank you for trying to reassure me. I have faith in your clinic's abilities. So why do you want to do this? If you don't mind my asking. Not at all. I understand this is part of your responsibilities as a sideline. You probably don't know, but there's a trend going around for having perfectly sweet and lilting voices. Since mine is so mundane, it might slight my family's reputation so that it remain unchanged. Compliment her voice. I'd never call your voice mundane. It's quite elegant, in fact. You make a poor salesperson. But thank you, I appreciate it. She lets out a slight sigh, though my parents do not seem to agree. Could you tell me a bit about your parents? Such as? What do they do? What do they do for work? I don't mean to make your job more difficult, but I'm not sure that you need to know that for a discussion today, and it's not my place to speak on my parents' business. I understand, I'm sorry for overstepping. She shakes her head slightly. You're just trying to do your job, no harm in that. Let's move on. I think there's more to a relationship with the family than she's letting on. I'll try to circle back to it. How does your family feel about Song for a Lark? They don't pay it much mind. They see it as a diversion, which it is. So they don't listen in? Florence shakes her head. They're much too busy and I don't expect them to. How does that make you feel? Florence's hands fidget slightly. I don't really feel any way about it. It's just how it is. The show is just a small hobby of mine, nothing of importance. She says that, but I feel like she's downplaying how much Song for a Lark means to her. What are you most scared of? Florence laughs a bit nervously. These questions are getting a bit heavy. Your answers help me do the best job I can. I need to know these kinds of things to provide a good recommendation. Florence nods. Yeah, I understand. It was just a bit unexpected. He pauses and I give her the space to think. I suppose what I fear the most is letting others down and disappointing them. You're worried about letting others down? Florence nods. That's about right. There are also many things that worry me. Florence tilts her head slightly, indicating interest, so I continue. I'm worried I'm not good enough at my job and that I don't make enough time for my loved ones. I pause for a second, realizing my next concerns are money-related, and that's not something I imagine she'll be able to relate to. Keep it to yourself. Better not mention it. I want her to be comfortable right now. I don't mean to make you feel like your concerns are unnatural. Everyone worries about lots of things for many different reasons. I don't need to worry. You haven't made me feel that way at all. Thank you for sharing your worries, though. It helps. In what way do you fear letting others down? I have responsibilities, and there are expectations that are placed on me. Others rely on me. It would hurt them were I to betray their confidence. Is there anyone else in particular who relies on you in this way? Mostly my parents, I think. In what ways do you think you'll let others down? She pauses for a moment. When she speaks, she offers each word slowly, carefully lining them up into a sentence. It's expected of me to present myself in certain ways, for my appearance to be up to standard. Your family expects you to look a certain way. That's a bit of a simplification, but you could say so. Do these expectations mirror upper floor trends? Often, yeah. Why do you think you have these fears? I'm not sure what you mean. What makes it so scary? Florence sits back a bit. I hadn't thought about that. He pauses for a moment. I think I'm worried about others thinking less of me. Do you think you'll lose their respect? I'm scared of losing all worth in their eyes. Do you think they'd reject you if you fail to live up to their standards? Rationally, no. I don't think they would. But I'm scared they'll throw me away if they realize I'm useless. Could this be connected to a reason for making this appointment? Have you spoken to anyone about your worries? Florence drops her gaze, but I catch the forlornness in her expression. They're only simple concerns, not worth worrying at us. I lean forward slightly, trying to catch her gaze. Something is telling me that she's been keeping her feelings bottled for a very long time, and she might be looking for someone to share them with. Personal. I'd be happy to share the worry with you. Could you tell me a bit more? Florence looks away again, and silence stretches between us. I'm about to ask if she's all right when she starts talking. It's all right. I understand now that the cause of my worries can be dispelled if needed. I hope I'm not impeding your work, but it's not an issue for me anymore. Are you sure it's not weighing on you in any way? It's not something I need to worry myself over. It seems like your parents have a lot of control over your life. I don't think that's the best way of phrasing it, but they do advise my decisions. Are you not confident in making decisions yourself? I just appreciate that they know better than me. She stops and looks down. I let the silence widen between us. Finally, she looks up at me, solemnity in her expression. For as long as I can remember, I have understood that I'm not that clever. There are better minds to make decisions for me, decisions that are for my betterment and good. As much as possible, I make the effort to follow the directions I'm given. I don't wish to disturb the waters or to make myself more of a burden than I already have. Burden? What makes you feel like a burden? She looks down at her fingers, winding themselves in her lap. I know my parents wanted a son instead. I spent my whole life trying to make up for that feeling. Seems unreasonable. That doesn't sound reasonable. It's not like you had anything to do with it. May not be, but that's how it is nonetheless. Why do you say you aren't clever? She gives a small shrug. I've always been surrounded by exceptional people. I understand that I'm not like them. That's not true at all. You're exceptionally smart. Oh, thank you for saying that. Do you feel like you need to let your husband make decisions for you as well? Ellis cares about me. He just wants me to be happy. How did you meet Ellis? She smiles and her gaze wanders, seeing a time gone by. We were at Dancing Arcs, a semi-annual evening party. The sun was setting and they'd arranged prisms around the room to catch the light. A friend introduced us and we hit it off. She laughs softly. He's awfully charming and he did small things that exhibited a considerate heart. We started meeting up after that and he grew fond of me. My parents were so pleased. Ellis's father is well respected and Ellis himself is a perfect gentleman. What do you think of Ellis? Well, he's very kind and he lets me do my own things like my show.
He worries for me sometimes.
And your parents were happy you were seeing him?
Aye, and he was happy with me for catching him.
Oh, happy with you. What does Ellis love about you?
Well, he always tells me I'm lovely. I think he likes speaking to me also. He often asks me to share my opinion.
Are you happy together?
He cares for me. There's nothing more I could ask for.
You mentioned that others value your beauty.
Oh well, they seem to appreciate it at least. It seems to make up for my faults.
In what way?
I know you don't agree, but I'm really not that skilled. My appearance is useful and I suppose, as you said, valuable.
But these days, anyone can be beautiful with some modding. I understand the appeal of natural looks, but for others to value it so highly. Florence's expression turns pained and I decide to change topics. Alright. Do you have any plans for after the procedure?
No, I was just going to take some time to rest at home. There's a dinner party this weekend, but that's all.
I'll take a moment to check my notes. I've covered all the required questions, but I feel like there's something more going on here. Baron told me to be careful, though. It might be best to wrap things up quickly, so I don't have more time to embarrass myself before I continue. Well, thank you for answering my questions. It's time to make my recommendation. I look down at my notes, detailing facts that collect into a silhouette of Florence Sanderine.
You'll be making your recommendation now?
Yes. Florence looks down at her hands and her expression turns torn.
Before you continue, I think there's something you should know. I have not had the best experience with modding in the past.
Do you want to talk about it?
I think so. In my life, my appearance is the only valuable thing I have. I've always been expected to be like a vase. Beautiful, silent, out of the way. Empty of any thought someone else didn't place in it. In my family, it seems like they understood it was important that I had value. When I was young, my parents began taking me to a clinic for modifications. They only told me about any of it many years after. I guess they thought I'd have figured it out on my own. Who could naturally be so beautiful after all? But coming here was my decision. I wanted to be in control of how this happened. It's still hard to be here to go through with this.
I understand why being here would be hard. If you want to reschedule or cancel this consultation, we can do that whenever you want.
Thank you, but I need to finish this. And thank you for hearing me out.
She pauses for a bit. When I don't say anything, she looks back at me.
Shall we continue?
What were the previous mods? Before we go on, do you mind if I ask a bit about your previous mods?
I don't, but there isn't much to tell. It was mostly surface level improvements. I know much more than that.
I nod and watch her for a bit. Even looking for it, I can't really see the modding. It must be really high-end. More than anything we offer here. If we do, I just need to know that this procedure was entirely your decision. You may have chosen this clinic, but I need to know that you decided to go through with the voice alteration as well.
I want to please my parents and fulfill my filial obligations. That makes this procedure very important to me.
Then let's continue. I need to save another 7,952 over the next 11 days. I think that 8 days previously was a typo, I guess. Or maybe they've changed the time period at some point, but haven't changed all previous references to how long this was going to take. If Florence has the procedure done here, I'll earn at least 2,400. Well, that's good. I mean, we're going to recommend. I mean, it's something she feels required to do, but it does seem like she's thought about it and her reasons for doing it, and, you know, I think it's fine. I think we're good to move forward with the procedure.
You're certain that's for the best?
Oh, is there any reason why I wouldn't be?
Oh, well, I just thought since you knew everything now.
Given your position, I think having the procedure is the best course of action. Not having it will cause you and your family many problems.
I understand. Your assessment is correct. It was foolish of me to hope for something more.
I feel like I've made the wrong decision now. Be practical. Sometimes it helps to face issues from a straightforward perspective. I think it's good that you're being pragmatic.
Oh, thank you.
We can book you for tomorrow if that works for you.
So soon?
Well, I think it would be worse to have this hanging over you.
You're probably right.
We'll see you then.
You'll be here to meet with me?
Does she want that? Do you want me to be?
Oh, if it's not too much trouble.
Sure. I'll be there.
Oh, thank you. Now, in terms of the voice you're looking for, Florence, Florence explains what type of voice she... What? I think maybe this is supposed to be internal. I think we're supposed to say, now in terms of the voice you're looking for, and then internally we're thinking, Florence explains what kind of voice she needs and which modification she'd like to get to achieve it. I suggest a plan that fits her goals, and she agrees to it quickly. Watching her as I explained what we'll be doing, I wondered if she's really listening. I walk her over to Dr. Sol and wait while she has the physical. Sol gives the go-ahead and Florence pays her deposit. I notice her hands are shaking slightly. I wonder if I've made the right choice. But Nibbles! We need to save Nibbles. She turns to me with a final smile. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. And with that, the siren is gone, along with all her glittering splendour. Later that day, I grab some paperwork to finish my notes on Florence, deciding to stay and work in the lobby. After getting through about half, I hear the swish of the front door opening and noticed Ocean walking in. Hey, Jin. Be friendly. Oh, back again, I see, for the procedure? Yeah. Oh, Dr. Sol has a lot of experience. You're in good hands. Oh, I'm sure. Do I just wait here, or, Oh yeah, she'll come get you when she's ready. All right, cool. Make small talk. Are you excited for your trip? Yeah, I'm leaving the day after tomorrow. Oh, glad to hear it. Just then, Sol steps out from the surgery. Ocean? Yeah. I'm Sol, she, her. If you're ready, you can follow me. Ocean offers me a smile and follows after Sol. Sol nods to me before closing the door behind them both. I head back to my office with a lingering smile. It's nice seeing how happy Ocean is, and it doesn't hurt that they'll be paying the rest of their fee today. Oh, maybe we made a bundle today. When I get home, I notice Nibbles hasn't eaten today. I pull her into my lap and run a hand along her ears and count my breaths. I offer her some kale and feel a bit relieved when she starts chewing on its corner. Let's unpack a bit more. I glance at the stack of boxes awaiting unpacking, and fatigue preemptively settles on my shoulders. We made it slightly nicer. I pull out kitchen appliances I've no room for and haphazardly squeeze them into my limited counter space. A lot of them end up beneath my kitchen table. I sigh. Another reason it'll be some time before I have guests. I decide to get to bed early, feeling restless and wanting this day to be done with. Okay, so we made $2,000 today. So we're up to practically 11,000. Which is good news for Nibbles, hopefully. So we need 6 more thousand, and we've got about 10 days to do it. So in 2 days we've made, almost 3,000. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I think we're making good progress with Nibbles. I turn off my phone and drop it onto my bedside table face down. Florence's smile haunts my thoughts as I wrestle with sleep. I wish I could have done more for her. Okay, clearly the game is telling me I bungled. I know she kind of felt forced into it. I do realise that. But in my opinion, she was going in eyes open. And yeah, I'm sure it will be fine. Plus, there's obviously Nibbles to worry about. Nibbles is my main concern. I wake up at 3 in the morning with a start. Breath shaking, I try to lie back down and relax, but I can hear my blood rushing in my ears. My fingers twitch and my legs don't want to settle. I sit up and try to think of a way of distracting myself. I don't get much more sleep that night. Okay. So I think I'm going to leave it there for this time, as this, again, was just a quick look at the demo that's currently available. As I said at the beginning, the game is due out latter half of the year at least. So something I'm probably looking forward to playing a bit more of, to tell the truth. But let me know in the comments your thoughts as well on this so far. Is it something you'd like to see me play more of? Is it something you might check out for yourself? Always great to get your opinions. If you enjoyed this, if you could hit that like button, that'd be amazing. And if you're watching this and not yet subscribed to the channel, if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. So thanks very much, and I hope to see you elsewhere on Boring Dad Gaming for other games and other playthroughs. Bye for now.